We're going over to the phone again for the third time in 45 minutes to have another special guest on. We got Mr. Rick Witter on the line. Hello, Rick. How are you doing?
Hello, mate. Well, you're a busy man, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, it's been a busy one today. You remember, you had a radio show yourself for quite a while. Is that not going anymore?
No, I stopped doing it. Well, I didn't stop doing it. I enjoyed doing it, but politics stopped it happening, them pesky politics.
Oh,
but yeah,
no.
I mean, I'd always be up for doing something else. I really enjoyed playing music and showing people what I like to listen to on my downtime.
Yeah, it was interesting to listen to, and you had some great guests on as well.
Well, yeah, I did, yeah. I mean, obviously, being slightly connected in certain ways helped, but a lot of these people that I spoke to probably felt a bit more relaxed because they knew I'm not going to ask them anything stupid, you know.
Yeah. I can remember.
There's a test for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I can remember so many great guests being on there. We first hooked up when Six Towns Radio started. I think it was one of the first Shed 7 tours, this last decade, and and you did a Christmassy tour every couple of years, should we say. It was around about that time of year. And I remember everyone was discussing whether a new Shed 7 album was something that could happen. And you said then, we'd only just started talking by email at first with the rest of the band. It's been a long time since we all got together. So you didn't think it was going to happen. And then fast forward 5 years, we're sitting here, and Instant Pleasures is imminent, a brand new studio album, the first one in many a year, and everyone's quite excited, including yourself, obviously.
Yeah, it's all gone a little bit daft. Yeah, I mean, as you say, we've been kind of reforming every other year for the past 10 years just to go out and play our old material. And obviously, over that last 10 years, we've got a really good, strong set of fans. They're very loyal, you know. And it's the question that was always asked: when, or will you ever write anything new? And there was times where it was a definite no, and then it was a maybe, and now, you know, basically, we've been doing this on the sly for about the last 3 years because we didn't want to announce it and then have to start doing it because that just puts immediate pressure on us. But we just spent 3 years kind of doing rehearsals to get match fit for gigs anyway, but just slipping in the odd new idea here and there. But every new idea that we were kind of just trying, we're looking at each other going, well, actually, there's legs here. This is actually quite good. So we just built up maybe 6 or 7 songs and decided, right, come on, we need to do this properly. Yeah. And here we are now, Instant Pleasures.
Yeah, and Room in Your House was dropped last week, I think I heard it for the first time. And again, that's the lead track for you to put new music out there. And it's gone down a storm with everyone, from the media to, like you say, you've got hardcore fans, but they will be honest with you as well, won't they?
Well, of course, yeah. People are always honest with me, definitely. I used to get stuff thrown at me in the street, that's how honest they are. But, yeah, you know, I mean, we've kind of done this in a way. The new album, there's 12 songs on it. I think it's a really strong album. I think there's a lot of potential singles off the album, which is a thrill in itself. But we wanted to choose something that was slightly a bit more kind of, you know, there's 3 or 4 really obvious Shed songs on there. You know, if you like Going for Gold, you're going to love a particular song on the album. If you like Chasing Rainbows, you're going to love a particular song on the album, and on Standby and so on. But we just wanted to come up with something a bit more anthemic, you know, and it's quite a big ballsy number.
Yeah. Well, do you think right now, 2017, there's a lack of mainstream guitar music? You know, Liam Gallagher's come back this year, and that's gone down really well. But on the radio, there's not that many that are breaking through. There's so many great bands I see on a regular basis up and down the country, but, you know, in the media, you don't hear a lot. Yeah,
you have to dig deeper these days, don't you? I mean, obviously in the 90s, indie was the big thing, you know, and everyone was at it. And then, you know, it's certainly with that experience of having my own radio show, I often found myself browsing on YouTube trying to find new cool indie music, you know. But it's less prevalent these days. But I'd like to think we're a bit of fresh air for that, really. I think we've kind of taken the ball and smashed it, really. Yeah. And it's all very exciting, you know. I mean, our aim is, I think a lot of our fans are going to love it anyway, because we've got, as I say, we've got some real diehard fans who'll just love it anyway. But that wasn't the point for us. You know, we want to kind of win around people who are perhaps not as into us. We want to surprise a few people, but then we also want to get new people who've never even heard of us. You know, I mean, I remember the first I heard of R.E.M. was the Green album, and then discovered that they had 5 albums prior to that. You know, it was a great thrill going back and wading through their back catalogue.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm kind of hoping that'll happen and all.
Definitely, because I know from some of your gigs, over the last few years, people have been taking other people along and getting them into the old music. So for a whole new generation, listening to these new songs has got to be important for you, as well as the nostalgia that's there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, harking back to the fact that we kind of tour every other year, I'm noticing the older we get, obviously, that most of our audience are growing old with us or older, but they're bringing their 15-year-old kids to these gigs. But the satisfying thing that I see is the fact that these 15, 16-year-old kids are singing every word. So they're not there under sufferance. They're not being dragged there by the parents, So, we are like the Rolling Stones. We'll just go on and go on and go on.
Keep on keeping on.
I'm just worried about Alan flipping over his drums when he's in his 80s. I'm not sure if he'll be able to do that.
It's part of the show. He's got to, hasn't he? He's part of the show. Let's
exactly,
talk about the live experience. Of course, the album cover was shot at London Scarlet. You're playing there soon, and then there's a hometown show in York. This is the first gigs before you jet off to the US and Canada to play some gigs as well.
Yeah, so it's become a kind of full-time thing again. For a while it was just every other year, and then maybe throwing a few festivals on the down year, but it would appear that we are just back, which is very exciting. It's been a long time since we've gone abroad to play. I think there's talk of us going to Australia as well, and we're going to do a big European thing. So yeah, it's very exciting. It's like a working unit again.
Yeah.
So speak to me again in 6 months. I'll tell you if I'm still excited about it.
I will do. I can remember, was it you that said it's not bad for a group of Britpop also rans?
Probably.
I think it was.
Let's see where this can take us. And it's very exciting. I mean, I think we're going to shock a few people. As I say, I think there's about 10 singles on this album.
Good.
So, I'm intrigued to know what people do think when it eventually comes out. I was going to say drops then, but that's not the coolest of things to say, is it? When the album drops, man.
When you've got kids, you can't say that, apparently. My son's upstairs. If I said that and my son heard me, he'd give me the dirtiest look. But then you're coming back after the US and in Canada. You're coming back to do this, last leg of the tour. And it includes Stoke this time. You played Kiel last year, but you're at the Victoria Hall for the first time in a few years. That's up in my neck of the woods. I'm excited about that myself. Yeah, it's been a while since we've actually played Stoke. I've been there a few times over the years DJing, but it's always been great in Stoke for us. We've never had a bad one in Stoke, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's about time, really. Yeah,
and I think it's close to selling out, so...
I think it is. I think the whole tour now is very close to selling out the whole thing, the whole shebang. Yeah,
there's only a few tickets left, and I'm convinced that obviously when the album eventually does come out, that the last few will go.
Yeah.
But yeah, all very exciting.
Yeah, and I think, with this new album, the tour and everything like that, you said Stoke, you've always gone down well here. I do an indie night here, and it always get asked for, She Left Me on Friday, or later on, like you say, Chasing Rainbows, Going for Gold. These songs that a lot of people know. We're not talking about people in the 30s and 40s. I'm talking people in the 20s who are asking for this. So they want this. They want this new album. Yeah, that's what it is.
Stoke's full of cool kids, definitely.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. Finally, I did mention that when I first interviewed you, going back nearly 10 years ago, you mentioned that you conversing by email. Are you now, not, I wouldn't say best of friends, but are you better than ever as a band? Getting on and getting on with business.
Yeah, definitely. It's a funny old game, isn't it? I mean, we were all in bands when we were school children, so we've known each other an awful long time, and we split for a few years, went off and did our own things, but we were still friends. We never really fell out as such. It was just we had a bit of time apart, really. But I mean, obviously we're all really excited about what we're doing. Like every band, we'll have run-ins and disagree on stuff, but I think the older we get, the more we realise now that the fact that there's 5 massive egos in this band and we all want control of it. you got to learn to accept that not everything's going to go exactly how you want it. The only problem with that is if somebody comes up with a great idea and then everyone else wades in on that great idea, it suddenly turns into just a dead normal idea because everyone's had opinions. So usually now, if somebody has a great idea, we let that great idea run.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Pleasures.
Yeah, that's the best way. We have that sometimes at committee at the radio. Sometimes we have a brilliant idea and it gets beat up so much that the idea doesn't even doesn't happen. It's perfect. I think you get a bit more forgiving when you hit 40 as well. I think that's one of the things.
You start to, exactly. You start to realise that life's just too short, and you just crack on and get on with it. You know what I mean? And as I say, we've come up with something that we're all really proud of, and I think that's going to show. When we play these gigs and eventually back.
Yeah. Well, I want to, when you do the next album, I want a review on there. Terry Bosson's 5 stars. We'll stick that on there because it's going to happen anyway. But thank you very much, Rick, for coming on the show today. And like I say, good luck with everything.
Nice one, mate. That's very kind of you, and good luck with your show, yeah?
Yeah. And could you just say, since you used to do a radio show, I've got the next song on. It's by Shed 7. It's called Room in Your House. Would you like to introduce that?
I can do that. This is, you're listening to Terry's A Show. This is Shed 7 with Room in My House. Enjoy.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Rick. You take care, man.
Nice one, mate. Good man. Thank you. Cheers.